Hello. Thank you for joining us for the Consumer Attorneys of San Diego virtual celebration of the 2020 Outstanding Trial Lawyers. Like everything in 2020, tonight's event will be a bit different, and it's not how we're used to celebrating. I know we all miss gathering in person, and celebrating virtually is just not the same. However, I think when you hear tonight about the amazing results our fellow trial lawyers have achieved this year, you will understand why we didn't want to wait out the pandemic before celebrating our Outstanding Trial Lawyer and Outstanding Advocate Award recipients. One of the reasons that I've always loved the Trial Stars Dinner is that I feel inspired by the stories behind the verdicts. I love hearing how the lawyers overcome the obstacles of each case, the relentless defense tactics, and how beating the odds and getting justice for their clients. Tonight, we still will learn about these incredible cases and hear these stories from our favorite MC and former CASD president, Brett Schreiber. However, rather than just giving you a bunch of long acceptance speeches, and in some people's cases, really long acceptance speeches, this year, we've asked our good friend Ken Turek to sit down for an interview with our award winners to give you a more intimate look into who they are. So you'll learn not just about the cases, but about the stories behind the lawyers as well. And please stay with us for a few minutes at the conclusion of the program to enjoy some personal messages for our honorees. And finally, I want to thank Bonnie, Colin, Alima, and the entire board of directors of CASD for the incredible job everyone has done this year, moving all of our events to a virtual format, putting on dozens of quality educational seminars, and keeping our members connected in what has undoubtedly been an incredibly difficult year for us all. 2020 has put us to the test, but I'm proud to say that this year, CASD, more than ever, has proven that through this organization, we truly never stand alone. Before we begin, I want to take a minute to acknowledge and thank the underwriters of tonight's program. And I want to give a special thank you to our main sponsors, Manuel and Manny Valdez of the Valdez team at Ringler. It has meant so much to me personally and to everyone at CASD that you both have continued to support us through this difficult year. We cannot thank you enough. And now, as they say, a word from our main sponsor, the Valdez team at Ringler.
Hi, my name is Manuel Valdez, and we are excited to be here for the 2020 Trial Star event.
Good evening. My name is Manny Valdez. We are part of the Valdez team at Ringler. We're honored to be the main sponsor of this event again this year, and especially being part of the first virtual event hosted by CASD.
Yes, and we'd like to congratulate and thank Bonnie, Alima, and Colin for all their hard work. I'm sure it was not easy.
Speaking of not easy, I think the work of President Amy Martel, the board, and the entire bench has been tremendous in trying to navigate the association through these difficult times.
The reason we are here is to celebrate the success of all our winners. It's a heck of a lineup.
On behalf of the entire Valdez team, congrats to everyone for a job well done.
Hi, everyone. Can we begin with the collective acknowledgement that 2020 sucks? It's probably one of the hardest years we will ever experience, and there will undoubtedly be some incredible things that come out of it all. Like many other families, mine adopted a puppy, Roshi. He has been adorable. He is a furry, wonderful bundle of love. He and our children remind me each day to focus in on the things that bring us joy and meaning to our lives. Similarly, it's the folks we represent, our clients, who help each of us to focus in on the things that bring purpose and meaning to our work. Their suffering drives all of us to do better and to exceed our own expectations. Because it's important. The rule of law is important. Our system of government is important. Truth is important. Character is important. Achieving justice for our clients is what we do because it is critically important. And despite the chaos of this maddening year, it is also important to come together, albeit apart, to celebrate the success of our colleagues. On that note, I'd like to turn our attention to the 2020 trial stars. This year's honorees are James Matthew Brown, outstanding trial lawyer in the case of Peck versus Peck; Bob Vogee and Beth Teshera, outstanding trial lawyers in the case of Collins versus County of San Diego; Bob Vogee and Beth Teshera, outstanding advocates in the case of Mitchell versus Kaiser; Justin Walker is an outstanding trial lawyer in the case of Quee versus Three Rivers Provider Network; and Cynthia Shea and Amy Rose Martel, outstanding advocates in the case of Graves versus Kaiser. Christopher Walton as our outstanding trial lawyer in the case of Salagi versus Whitaker; and Thomas Dichenko, outstanding trial lawyer in the case of Horton versus Trident Society. Now, let's spend some time getting to know the details of their cases and then about the honorees themselves. This Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award goes to Tom Dichenko for yet another home run result in the employment realm, in the case of Horton versus Trident Society. This was a case about corporate failure to prevent sexual harassment and company-wide misclassification of salespeople as independent contractors. Not protecting workers from harassment and exploiting many through misclassification are two scourges in our current society. And it is cases like this that make for a shining example of the ability of the civil justice system to right societal wrongs. The plaintiff, Felicia Horton, was a sales rep for the defendant, Trident Society. Not only was she misclassified in her sales role, but was assigned to a supervisor who subjected her and other women to his alleged training sessions behind closed doors, where he would make sexual advances, demeaning comments, and engage in threatening behavior. Since her supervisor was the pipeline to get more sales leads, Felicia was understandably reluctant to report him out of fear that he would cut off her sales leads. And in fact, that's just what happened. In this litigation, Tom was able to uncover through motions to compel that this supervisor had similarly harassed multiple other women before Felicia. The defense team in this case was nothing but obstreperous and obstructionist every step of the way. They subjected Felicia to 4 sessions of deposition and 2 days of cross-examination at trial. They similarly caused this case to be far more expensive to litigate since they wouldn't stipulate to anything. In a 12-day bench trial, Tom got the judge to see through the defense's bullying tactics and ultimately awarded over $2.3 million for the harm Felicia suffered and the costs and fees it took to bring her case to justice. What I love most about this case is it's one that at least 6 different lawyers had rejected before Tom decided to take it on. In fact, Felicia had resigned herself to giving up. She wasn't going to pursue this case if Tom hadn't taken it. And yet he did. And he told her that together they would rise or together they would fall, but either way, they would see it through. Together. Congratulations, Tom and Felicia. You are both the heroes of this story.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Ken. How you doing, bud?
I saw that you have an extensive background in nursing. I saw you're doing pediatric ICU work,
Right.
which is amazing. What drew you to that?
Sure. When I was a teenager, my mother became a paraplegic, and she almost died. And the family had to get through that process, and my dad dedicated his life to taking good care of her, and she lived for many years after that.
When did the law school thing come up?
I have no idea how I came up with practicing law, but I'm so glad I made that decision, because it allowed me to carry on with the same type of caring and teaching and supporting people through a process.
Yes.
Dealing with loss and helping them to get through loss or some sort of tragedy and help them to turn things around. It's a privilege and a responsibility that you need to make sure that you take care of them. And what I've learned through the years is that there were people along the way in my life that helped me they helped mentor me. They would pay it forward. There's lots of senior attorneys out there like yourself, like you're doing here today, giving up their time to help out the profession, help out the collective. And to be a part of something that is bigger than you is really a wonderful thing. You can't replace a life, and you can't reverse an injury, and you can't get the person that job back that they wanted, and you can't change people who are abusive in the workplace. But you can get people what they need to get back on their feet. And to be a part of something that is bigger than you is really a wonderful thing.
How do you take care of yourself? You know, you have a great wife, Beth, and you've raised two great
Absolutely.
boys. I mean, Alec and Drew, they're superstars. How do you take care of yourself?
And I think it's critically important that we not lose ourselves in the profession. And it was worth it to me to invest the time into my family earlier on, because you can practice law for a long time. But, you know, I put things off in my career early on so that I could spend time with them, because there's no better investment than investment in your kids and your family.
Would you like to thank anyone for their help in the result you got?
I want to thank Felicia Horton, my client, for believing in me, my wife, who was instrumental in working on the case, my associate Heidi Brown, my co-counsel Carl Lewis, and Jason Rupert. And I'm grateful to CASD, the board, my colleagues who have supported me through the years.
Thanks, Tom.
Our next Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award comes from the land of labor and employment. Our awardee is a rising star in the plaintiff bar, Mr. Justin Walker. The case is Shu-Jun Kui versus Three Rivers Provider Network. Ms. Kui, who goes by June, was hired as a new controller for a healthcare insurance provider. She was brought in to help clean things up, as just before she had been hired, the founder and the CEO was investigated and had to pay a $7 million fine to the IRS for tax fraud. June was brought in under the guise to help right the ship and to get the company's financial house of cards in order. However, this case is another shining example of the old adage, a leopard doesn't change its spots. And that was certainly true with this defendant and its CEO. Shortly after being hired, June was asked to investigate a claim that a subsidiary owed money to one of its shareholders. And as a part of her investigation, she discovered that her company actually owed the subsidiary upward of $200,000. When she brought this to the attention of the powers that be, they told her, liquidate the account. Don't pay the subsidiary or the shareholder what was owed. June refused. Shortly after, June had lunch with one of the company's salesmen. At lunch, he proceeded to tell her that he was sexually harassed by the founder of the company, including requests that he sleep with the founder's wife. June thought this was abhorrent, and in an effort to help her coworker, she immediately and appropriately reported the harassment to the company's new head of HR. Their response? Keep your mouth shut, June. She later learned that the hand-picked HR director was close friends of the founder, and the fix was in. After these two incidents, at a company-wide meeting, the CEO praised loyal employees, spoke of them as if they were like family, and warned those who are not loyal will be broke and miserable. June got scared. She took the documents she found that showed fraud. She brought them home. Within weeks, she was fired. This was a tough case where everything was in dispute. It's one of those trials where you are fighting on 100 different fronts. And if you lose focus and you spend too much time on one defense or another, you can end up losing the war. But Justin didn't let that happen, making this one of the top 20 labor and employment verdicts in California in 2019. Congratulations to Justin, his team, and most importantly, his client for this outstanding result.
Justin Walker,
Ken Turek.
how are you?
I'm doing well, sir.
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you very, very much.
A pretty amazing result, and I'm sure you're really proud of it.
Very much so. Thank you.
Can you share with us a little bit about your dad?
Certainly. So my father is an immigrant from Scotland, born in 1944, one of 9 children. My father, tells stories of growing up very much like Oliver Twist, literally stealing hams off the back of trucks, literally stealing copper pipes to sell to keep warm. And he got really lucky one day when he played the soccer pools, where like a parlay. And he bet, I think it was on 14 different soccer games to pick the winners. I think he got 11 is what it is. And in 1963, I believe he won the equivalent of about 400 grand in today's dollars, which,
oh, man.
So he picked up and moved to, I believe it was Lakewood, California, and slowly but surely brought the whole family over. And he started working in a steel factory, a steel mill in Los Angeles. He worked the swing shift, he worked the night shift, and he ultimately worked his way up to becoming the CEO of that company.
And your mom is a critical care nurse.
My mother was a critical care nurse for 34 years, working all over Los Angeles, California, a variety of different hospitals, including Whittier Presbyterian, ICU nurse, very much a nurturing mother, a very, very loving, very assertive, very, very assertive. She is not someone to be trifled with.
What is it that you find most gratifying in your work?
Bringing the other side down to earth, making them see what they've done and answer for it. I think that's incredibly satisfying to step in the shoes of your client and fight their fight for them and make the other side see what they've done and to make things right. I think in this particular case, when we got the verdict we did, it was vindication for our client that what she did was absolutely the right thing to do. And she stood up for a couple other employees and then they hammered her for it. And then they had the audacity to tell her to get lost and to scoff at us throughout the whole case. And to get that verdict and have those jurors look at us and say, we're with you, it was priceless.
Yeah.
I was in tears. It was awesome. It was a rush. But really the best feeling was just knowing that that defendant somewhere, hopefully, is not going to do this again.
There was a great story I heard about your dad giving you some advice when you were going in for your first job interview.
So my first job interview ever was at Disneyland. I was about 15. And at this point in time, my dad was an executive with the company and he was interviewing people too. So, I thought, you know what I should do. And he tells me, just be yourself. Just tell the truth and be yourself. And I said, okay, I can do that. And so I go into the room to be interviewed. And the interview says, what's your worst quality? So, I got a real problem with authority, you know. I just can't stand when someone tries to tell me what to do, you know. I don't like it at all. You know, but I get things done my own way, kind of thing.
Oh, man.
And I told my dad this on the way home. I said, you did what? Oh, lad, what did you do? You know, so yeah, I didn't get that job.
Well, you learned how to interview.
I'd like to think so. We'll see how that translates today.
Justin, who would you like to thank for helping you on this case?
I think the first person is my partner, Jared Valdez, who tried the case with me, who came aboard the firm right as this case was starting to get going. I would thank my wife, Lori, my other partner. Never-ending support, relentless encouragement. And Jared's wife, Jordan Velez, you know, part of the team too. She's such a positive person and was always supportive of us and what we wanted to do. And finally, Lori's cousin, Madison Tabler, who at 19 moved from Kansas to come stay with us and helped us out as an intern and basically did everything that we needed her to do so that we could do our jobs in this case.
Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Cameron Jackson from C. Jackson Investigations. 2020 was an interesting year to say the least, and it was our first year as a gold sponsor with CASD. And I can tell you that this has been an amazing organization to work with. From all of us here at C. Jackson Investigations, I want to congratulate this year's 2020 Trial Stars attorneys. We look forward to serving CASD and all of the Trial Stars to 2021 and beyond. Thanks again.
This Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award goes to Jim Brown for his amazing work in trying the tragic case of Annette and Ryan Beck versus Richard Beck. This was another zero offer from the defense that resulted in a $9.5 million verdict, which was $1.5 million over what Jim asked for in closing. This was an impossible case. All of the bad facts you can imagine came in at this trial. One of the plaintiffs, Annette, had filed for divorce from the decedent before his death. This played into the defense theme that she was the estranged wife. The other plaintiff, Ryan, he was the son of the decedent, had a very difficult relationship with his alcoholic, violent, domestic abusing father. By any objective measure, this was a family in shambles. And the defendant was the grandfather who killed his own son. 99% of lawyers who get this call will say to themselves, this is a tragic case, but there is nothing that the civil justice system can do about it. But Mary Badgeau and the folks at SD & Bomberger found a way to bring this broken family some justice. Now, I'm pretty sure the only attorney in this town who could deliver this type of justice was the one, the only, James Matthew Brown. What makes this a truly outstanding award is that Jim was able to humanize these people and their history of conflict and despair. He guided the jury to connect to the human experience and the depth and breadth of their loss. Despite the decedent being an unemployed, violent alcoholic with a tortured relationship history with his wife and son, Jim was able to help the jury to understand that his life still had value, that the relationship and the losses suffered by the plaintiffs were real, and that the defense narrative was really just a thinly veiled attempt to make the jury dislike everyone involved and to toss them out. But thanks to his great lawyering, that didn't work. And despite only asking for $500,000 for the wife's loss, the jury awarded her $2 million. And for the son, the jury held that the value of his loss, of his admittedly flawed father, was $7.5 million. And to put an even finer point on it, the jury completely picked up everything that Jim was putting down, coming in unanimous on all counts.
Well, congratulations, Jim Brown, on your award,
Thank you, Kenny.
on that amazing result that you got.
Appreciate it. It wasn't just me, though. I need to thank everybody at SD and Baumberger. I mean, they're just tremendous people and great, wonderful friends of mine. And so I appreciate the comfort and the confidence they had in me and let me do this.
You know, I mentioned this to you before, but the one thing that I have known about you since I've met you several years ago is that whether you're here talking with me and us, or you're inside a courtroom or in front of a judge or in a deposition, you're pretty much the same person. You don't put on the airs of ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and I'm wondering where that comes from you.
I think it comes from my father a lot, my mother. I mean, there was not a lot of pretense with them, and the people I grew up with and where I grew up, they were just folks. I mean, they were just people, and you either got along with them or you didn't get along with them. And back then, people just got along with each other. I had a good upbringing. I knew a lot of really, really nice people, and it was just comfortable. You know what I mean? And I think that allowed me to get kind of comfortable with myself over the years, and I'm grateful for that. But I appreciate you saying that, because what outwardly is happening isn't what's happening on the inside most of the time, and you know that.
Now, you're getting an award here for an outstanding result, and you have been Trial Lawyer of the Year through this organization, which is the largest or biggest award you can get. And I know you're careful with the amount of cases you take, and why is that?
It has a lot to do with the lawyer that I'm working with. I don't get the opportunity to work with a lot of lawyers, but the lawyers that I do work with we're all real loyal to each other, and we all have a good rapport, and we all have specific roles that we can work in that just fits. It just works seamlessly, and I don't think it does me justice, or whoever I'm trying to help justice if I've got 50 other files back at my office. I just don't. There's no other profession that I know of that has the ability to change somebody's life for the better than what you and I and other folks get to do. It's a beautiful thing, man. It really is. And when you're in there and you're hitting on all fours, or all cylinders or whatever it is, and you can just feel that panel is with you, and then you get the verdict that is righteous and just. I mean, come on. Is there a better feeling?
Do you have anyone that you'd like to thank for their help on this case?
I do, and I appreciate you asking me that, Kenny. I gotta thank everybody at SD and Baumberger, obviously. Mary Bajo, and Mary just knocked it out of the park with her cross-examination of a couple of the police officers. It was tight, it was quick, it was clean, and it just left nothing for redirect. She did a tremendous job, so she needs to have that credit as well. And then Vanessa, was phenomenal. The result wouldn't have been the result without all of them doing that.
Well, thank you, Jim Brown. Appreciate you
Turek,
being here today.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay, man.
All right.
Bob Vogee and Beth Teshera are receiving 2 awards, an Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award and an Outstanding Advocate Award. First, the Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award for Bob and Beth's remarkable result in Collins versus the County of San Diego. This was a false arrest, civil rights, medical negligence case involving 30-year-old David Collins, who called 911 to report that homeless people were in his bed. When law enforcement arrived, it was apparent David was intoxicated and hallucinating. The cops left, and hours later, a neighbor called 911 after seeing David stumbling about, asking for paramedics in the street. The same 2 sheriff's deputies who'd seen him earlier arrived at the scene after the paramedics arrived. The sheriffs took David from the paramedics, believing him to be drunk. He was arrested for being drunk in public and taken to jail, despite the fact that he'd continually denied having been drinking. Over the next 13 hours, David's health deteriorated, and he fell, hitting his head on the concrete floor twice. On November 19th, 2016, at about 1 p.m., and just minutes after his second fall, David was released from jail. A courtesy ambulance was called by jail staff to take him to Palomar Pomerado Hospital as a trauma patient. He was diagnosed with a subarachnoid hemorrhage and critically low sodium. Unfortunately, his sodium level was raised too rapidly by the medical professionals, and this caused a second injury to David's brain at the brainstem, causing a new injury called osmotic demyelination syndrome. At no point was David's blood or alcohol levels tested at the jail or at the hospital. At the age of 32, David was left with a traumatic brain injury to his frontal lobe, causing difficulty with his judgment, his insight, and his processing. He also now suffers from a brain injury to his brainstem, impacting basic functions, including walking, talking, and fine motor skills. The hospital entered into a confidential settlement pre-trial, and Bob and Beth had to overcome an empty chair, despite a $500,000 pre-trial offer from the county. Bob and Beth believed in this jury, who in turn believed in them, returning a verdict in excess of $12.6 million. Bob and Beth are also being honored for their incredible result in a Kaiser arbitration in the matter of Mitchell versus Kaiser. John Mitchell was a loving father and husband in his 50s. Unfortunately for John, a series of preventable medical errors set him on a collision course towards a lifetime of disability. It was January 30th. In the morning, John was doing some stretching on the floor. He was limbering up for a run. Suddenly, while stretching, he felt a pop in his back. Immediately, he felt tingling and numbness in his legs and thought to himself, this isn't good. He called his primary care physician at Kaiser, and since years earlier, John had suffered a work injury, she sent him to occupational medicine for an evaluation. Kaiser's occupational medicine folks checked him out and sent him home. As the days go by, his tingling, his weakness, his poor reflexes worsen. He calls Kaiser again. Again, they send him to occupational medicine. This time, though, his condition is bad enough that they refer him to the ER. The Kaiser emergency room takes him in, performs a lumbar MRI. They look at it and say, well, your MRI shows some degeneration. And again, they send him on his way. His symptoms continue to worsen. Another week goes by before occupational medicine sees him again and orders a stat neurology referral. Finally, after another week, John is sent in for the MRI of his thoracic spine. While on the table for the MRI, his legs go numb. He can't move. He can't walk. Imaging shows a massive herniation in his thoracic spine, and an emergency surgery is performed. Now, the defense team that got lit up in Cindy and Amy's verdict were the same folks defending Kaiser here. They denied everything: liability, causation, damages, and never made any single meaningful settlement offer. The arbitrator, while appreciating all that John had left, also understood what he lost at the hands of Kaiser and awarded him nearly $3.5 million.
Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I know that you have gotten 2 awards, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
One was a Kaiser arbitration, and the other was an amazing jury verdict in the Collins matter. What was it that in your background, do you think, growing up, that made you attracted to the law as a profession? Did you think along those lines early, or?
Once I realized that nobody was going to pay me money to play baseball for a living, I realized I had to figure something out. And I think a big part of it was because I was always interested in competing against somebody, particularly in front of an audience, that it was kind of a natural transition. And I knew when I went to law school that the whole point would be so that I could try cases in front of juries. I really didn't want to do anything else.
You know, I know how you work. I've been fortunate to be around you when you are in cases. And I know that, Bob, you are, if not the most prepared lawyer I've ever met, you're one of them. And I'm wondering where that comes from. Where does that come from in you?
Again, going back to talking about competition, I was, as an athlete, I was a good athlete. I wasn't a great athlete. And I knew, I always wanted to be the best at whatever it was I did. Mm-hmm. And so I realized that preparation was a gift you can give to yourself. You know, in any competition, whether it's athletic, courtroom, he or she who is better prepared has a better chance of prevailing, in my view. I know that to be my best, I have to be prepared. I always say and always tell people, I may lose a case, but it will never be because the people on the other side are better prepared than we are. When I'm no longer willing to prepare to try cases, it's when it's time for me to stop because the client won't be getting our best.
Obviously preparation is key, looking through everything. But I think the most exciting depots are the ones that you don't know what's going to happen in. The Collins trial involved a lot of depositions. We had over 60 depots in that case. But the exciting thing for us was we didn't know what had happened. And that was always the exciting part for me when we take depots is when the 5 depots you can always remember because something really shocking comes out in it.
When I've talked to people about you, they tell me that you are calm and you are deliberate and kind. How is it that you can be successful as a trial lawyer and still be calm?
I think that's a personality trait. You know, it's funny because I remember when I was a new attorney, my parents were coming to see where I worked. And I remember giving them a tour and Bob introduced himself and he says, "Your daughter's really nice. She's really smart too, but she's really nice." And at the time I was like, nice, okay. It's carried through, you know, I think most of my interactions, whether it be with experts, defense counsel, other plaintiffs' attorneys, that's just who I am.
Well, I've seen you in trial and you're nice even at the moments of cross-examination when it can even embarrass someone that you're crossing. And your specialty, at least what I've seen, is in the numbers, I'll say. Why does that interest you?
For me, it's important for a jury to understand what it is we're asking for and why it is we're asking for that, so that they feel when they're back there talking to each other confident in saying, well, this seemed like a really good reason and this is why we should be doing what we're doing and deciding those numbers for them.
Do you have any people, both of you, that you'd like to thank for, you know, this in helping you get these awards?
We have a great staff at our firm. Susan and Ryan and Chris and Anna and Sherry. And then also obviously I have a great family.
So as you know, Ken, we have a pretty small, tight-knit group. The saying in our office is, you either work with Bob for a long time or you don't work with him for long at all. I'd also, of course, like to thank the Collins family and the Mitchells, John Mitchell, again, for giving us the opportunity to represent him in a difficult case against Kaiser. It's easy to work hard for people who are good people who put their confidence in you. And so I'm always grateful to people for giving us the opportunity to do that.
All right, thank you, both of you, thank you.
We know that there are a lot of familiar faces out there tonight. We've been working with many of you for decades. But for those who don't know us, allow us to introduce ourselves. Valdez team is a father-son team that has grown into one of the largest settlement planning companies in California. What we hear most from our attorney clients is that it's trust that leads them to feel comfortable introducing us to their client. We pride ourselves on being strategic about what we offer your clients. We know that there is no one solution that will work for every case. That is why it is so important for us to understand the client's needs and goals so that they can move forward with life, knowing that the settlement and plan are going to take care of them and their loved ones. We're not a one-stop shop. We want to navigate those conversations for you so that you get that time back to work on your cases. At the end of the day, we want to do what is right by them, and that's what makes us who we are. You can trust in that. Once again, congratulations to all tonight's winners from all of us at the Valdez team.
Chris Walton is receiving an Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award for his result in a difficult liability motorcycle crash case. As anyone trying lawsuits knows, jurors don't tend to like motorcycle riders. In this case, the plaintiff claimed that he'd been clipped by the defendant's vehicle, causing him to lay his bike down. It turns out that this was Mr. Salagi, the plaintiff's first motorcycle. He was a neophyte rider. He didn't have a motorcycle endorsement on his license. He had no real safety training on bikes. And apparently admitted to the defendant on the scene, he was fine, not injured. As discovery progressed, the defense was able to argue that there was no evidence of physical contact between the defendant and the plaintiff. They argued that the defendant had properly signaled for a lane change, and that it was the inexperienced plaintiff rider who simply overreacted and laid his bike down. The defense never made an offer, but they hinted they would maybe let the case go for a cost waiver or some nuisance value. But Chris soldiered on. His client was a Purple Heart recipient and a decorated Marine veteran. He was rough around the edges for sure, but he knew that this incident and his injuries were not all of his fault. And Chris believed him. So together, they rode into battle on a very tough set of facts. They came to the jury with integrity and humility. They didn't swing for the fences. They knew the case had issues, and if they had asked for millions, they'd get poured out. It's just another grubby plaintiff and another grubby plaintiff attorney. So from the beginning, they ate their bruises. They owned the ugly, and they kept their integrity, acknowledging, in closing, that it was okay to assign some fault to the plaintiff. They accepted some responsibility. The jury awarded nearly $150,000, and while assigning comparative to the plaintiff, they were nevertheless able to beat their 998 offer, tack on over $30,000 in expenses, and force the carrier to pay an excess judgment. Congratulations to Chris and to his client for this outstanding result.
Congratulations, Chris,
Thank
and
you.
welcome. Now, the case that you're getting this award on, really well deserved. You had several challenges in the case before you got in the courtroom.
Yeah, we stand by our clients. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. We take that very, very serious. And I don't know exactly where this comes from, but I still to this day take it very serious when somebody hires me and asks me to represent them. I just think that's unbelievable, given how many lawyers are out there that they can hire. When somebody goes to any of us and wants us to represent them, I take that very, very serious. And we are going to we stand by our clients. We just don't cut and run. That's just not how I'm wired. It's never been how I've been wired, and maybe I'll pay for it at some point in time, financially or otherwise, but I'm okay with that. And in this case right here, I knew that was a huge risk. I knew walking into this trial
that the odds were stacked against us, and I knew that there was a very good likelihood that that we would potentially get defensed, and if we did, that would be obviously a financial hit.
I know that from my experience with you, you not only work in the personal injury field, but you work in the elder abuse field. What about that latter part of your practice that do you find gratifying, if you will?
It always feels like you're on the right side when you're representing someone who's that vulnerable and doesn't have a voice and needs somebody to stand up for them. And so, yeah, it's very, very gratifying to represent, whether it's children or the elderly or just anybody who doesn't have a voice. A lot of times, seniors in nursing home facilities don't have anybody advocating for them.
Yeah. You're scheduled to be the next CASD president. First of all, what do you find that is great about the support that CASD has for its members? And because it's one of the things that I've heard about you, and I've seen about you, is just you're very supportive of others. So what can you share about that, why that's important or why you value it?
Well, it's really important because people have been very supportive of me, and people have helped me become the lawyer that I am today. So, I feel it's a responsibility of all of us to do that same thing where we have the opportunity. So CASD to me is, the equivalent of working in a big, large firm somewhere where you have, hundreds of different points of view and skill sets and talents, and you can reach out and get advice from all sorts of colleagues who have been there before. It's so important, I think, to plaintiffs' attorneys who can find themselves oftentimes practicing by themselves or in small firms or small groups.
That's great, thank you. You are president-elect, and you have to follow Amy Martel. So good luck with that.
Yes.
What have you seen Amy do, and what do you want to take from what you've watched her and maybe other presidents do as you've come up in the ranks of CASD?
Well, Amy, first of all,
yes,
walked into this year expecting something totally different than she found, obviously. And her and I talk a lot, and we talked a lot early on this year and had a lot of ideas and plans. And then all of a sudden, obviously COVID came about. And just watching her transition and watching her leadership and watching her steady hand and just not trying to, I'll say, be too up and down and just really try to be as steady as she can.
One last thing, the guys that you play golf with told me that you fill out your scorecard before you start to play, so that you're kind of always really good at golf. Is that true, or is that just a rumor?
That's the furthest thing from true.
You're not confident?
No, my game is all over the place. But yeah, that's one of the things in my life that I really enjoy doing, and the grind of trying to figure that out. I really enjoy that. So I spend a lot of time at the driving range trying to figure out my swing.
Well, thanks for coming. Is there anything you want to add before we finish up today?
Absolutely. I think first of all, I'd want to thank my client just for trusting me to represent him. And second, I'd want to thank those that helped me with this trial in particular. Laura Lindsay tried this case with me, and that was her first trial. And Jacqueline Finch at my office and Melissa Collins all played a big role in putting on this trial behind the scenes. And then I would want to thank my wife, last but not least, because she's always been very supportive of my dreams and giving me the freedom and ability to dream, and I'm a big dreamer. So I always want to thank her for that opportunity, for supporting me and allowing me to achieve what I have.
Our other Outstanding Advocate Award goes to Cynthia Shiok and Amy Martel for their outstanding result in an arbitration known as Rachel Graves versus Kaiser. This was a zero-offer case defended by Bart Hegler and Storm Anderson. And for any of you who do MedMal, you know they are formidable adversaries. However, they were no match for the dynamic duo of Cindy and Amy. This result came down to perseverance, savvy, and attention to detail by these two great advocates. This case involved a medical situation that was extremely unusual and unknown to most doctors. The plaintiff, herself a doctor, suffered nerve damage during a gynecological surgery. A week after surgery, she emailed the defendant's surgeon, Dr. Adiarte, about her pain, specifically asking him if it was caused by nerve damage from a suture. She emailed him multiple times over the next 6 weeks, referencing her worsening pain. The defendant physician never offered to see her until 7 weeks after her initial email. At that visit, he finally diagnosed her with the problem she had asked about in her initial email 7 weeks earlier. By that time, it was too late. The nerve was permanently damaged. The plaintiff was now permanently disabled and could no longer continue to work in her chosen profession as a veterinary surgeon. Her life had been curtailed in a myriad of ways. She continued to experience pain and needed constant medical care. Amy's opening theme was that you can't practice medicine over email. She and Cindy immersed themselves in understanding their client's invisible and uncommon injury. They made complicated issues clear for the arbitrator and remained poised and calm throughout years of defense shenanigans. Statutory offers to settle were served for $3 million in 2017, later reduced to $1.3 million in 2018. The arbitrator ultimately awarded over $4.2 million in compensatory damages and over $1 million in costs and interest. Congratulations, Cindy and Amy.
Cindy, Amy, congratulations on another amazing result.
Thank you.
How do you feel about it?
Everyone is ecstatic on the case. It was a zero offer case, so that always makes it nice.
Somebody offered you nothing and you got that killer result?
That happens more than you might think.
I always, and a lot of other people, really admire you because of your tenacity and dedication and passion. I think passion is a word that a lot of people use to describe your way in the law as a trial lawyer. But that started early because I read a story about you when you were a little girl and somebody stole your bike or tried to steal your bike.
No, that's an old story.
What happened?
Well, we used to have a little store, a little community market that the kids would go to. You'd get a quarter and go down and buy a sucker. And I left my bike out, went to get my candy, came back out, and a little boy was trying to steal about the same height as me, so little. And we got into a fight about it, a fist fight. But I, did get the bike back. His older brother actually came in and helped. So I got my bike back. Rode home, went to my mom. I was crying, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I went on about how this boy had pushed me and tried to steal my bike. And she looked at me and she said, "Did you get the bike back?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Why are you crying?" And that was nice. She gave me a quarter and told me to go back and get a sucker and stop it. And that was the end.
I have had someone describe to me the plaintiff's field of medical malpractice as shark-infested waters. And I'm wondering if that's a fair way of putting it. And that's maybe what's going on with you, both of you, in this field, because it's a challenging field.
This is something Cindy always says, is it's like a game of three-dimensional chess. So kind of the same idea, right? But to be successful in plaintiff's medical malpractice, you have to be thinking 3 steps ahead. 1 step ahead isn't gonna get you the verdict.
Why is that? Why 3 steps ahead? What do you mean?
Well, I think because the doctors are obviously very smart. They have excellent lawyers, and you're dealing in medicine, which might not be your first line of knowledge. So you have to really think things through, think about how you're going to lose this, and play the game 3 steps ahead of them to be able to win.
We're going to have a lot of young lawyers watching this. What do you think are the attributes of a great trial lawyer?
You've got to be able to say, this isn't enough. I have to do more because people's lives are resting on what I do.
How do you relax? I know you're a great athlete. You've got so many interests there, including cross country. You ran cross country?
I did. I ran cross country and track throughout high school and college. I think working out is my sanity. I have a pretty strict workout routine that I stick to, and that keeps me, I do it every morning. I get up early before the kids get up, and I'm home by the time they wake up, so I get to see them before I go to work. But that's really my outlet.
Cindy, let me ask you this. Again, we have an audience of a lot of young lawyers, solo practitioners, and I'm wondering if you have any advice on avoiding landmines.
Maybe you don't read your own press so much, because I can even say that now. For a while, you know, things turn your way all the time, and you think you can try anything, and
I'm
it's
invincible.
just you. Absolutely, and you need to remember that it's not true. You can lose anything too. So you can't get discouraged if you're a new practitioner. You just go out and you do it again. That's the big deal, to learn from your mistakes. On the other hand, don't go in there just because you had 2 wins. Doesn't mean number 3 is going to be a home run.
Amy?
I think it's about hard work, and don't be afraid to put in the hard work, because one of the things that I loved about Cindy from the minute I met her is there's no one, and I've tried to do as best I can to emulate her in this, is there's no one more prepared in the room than Cindy. And it takes a lot of work, and you have to really dig in and know the case, know the facts, but put in the hard work because it will pay off. What's great though is one time recently she told me I was over-prepared and I was working too hard for a trial. And I was laughing because I'm like, do you know if I wasn't doing this, you'd be like, you're not even taking this seriously. And now I'm doing the exact same thing as you, and you're like, you're just over-prepared. So it was pretty funny. I found it very, I thought it was a compliment, really. If Cindy says I'm over-prepared, then I've done my job.
Thank you for sitting down, coming down here and sitting with us and sharing everything. I think I'm not alone in appreciating your input and admiring what you do. Would you like to thank anyone on this case?
I want to obviously thank Cindy for giving me the opportunity to try the case with her. We had an amazing client, Rachel Graves, and this injury really devastated her life at a young age. Obviously, we have a big staff that help us get through this. It's not just Cindy and I. And for me, I definitely couldn't do it if it wasn't for my husband watching my kids. I'm very lucky he's a stay-home dad, and I wouldn't get to work till midnight with Cindy if he wasn't there watching them. So I have to thank him for that.
I always think, my office, they're great, because they know if I'm there till 11, they're there till at least 9 at night. Amy, who we tried this case together, we had a great time. And I want to thank the defense attorneys. They were very helpful on the case.
Okay. Cindy, Amy, congratulations on another amazing result.
Thank you.
Really wonderful job.
Thank you, Ken. It means a lot coming from this group.
Thank you again for joining us and honoring these incredible trial lawyers and shining a spotlight on their incredible accomplishments. This program could not have come together without the help of Ken Turek, the professional expertise of Verdict Videos, the support of our program underwriters, and of course, our main sponsor, the Valdez team at Ringler. This was not a typical night with the trial stars, but look at the upside. We're not all staring at each other in little tiny boxes on Zoom. And whether or not I had pants on during this entire program, you'll never know. Be well, be kind, be safe. Good night.
Congratulations, Tom! Couldn't think of anyone more deserving of such an incredible award. Love you, Dad.
Congratulations on this huge feat. You fought long and hard. It was an uphill battle, and you prevailed. You were an incredible advocate for your clients,
and all the while you made time for us. As a loving husband,
as a father and a punk,
and a grandfather to our little Hallie.
We are so proud of you not only as an exceptional lawyer, but as such a caring and dynamic human being. We love you.
We love you, Tommy.
Love you, Tomas.
Hallie loves you.
Hi, Tom and team and Felicia. I just want to congratulate you on your outstanding results. This is a tough case, fought over many years. Tom and team, you guys are a credit to our profession. Congratulations.
You approach every case that you're on, every client with complete gusto, with a fearlessness that I've never seen with anybody else. Taking on big companies, corporations, doctors, without mercy, and just really representing your client. So congrats on this night. I wish we could have been there together.
Hey Cindy, congratulations. You do a terrific job on every case. Congratulations on getting this award. Congratulations also to Amy. The two of you make a great team.
Hey Mom! Hi Mom, I want to congratulate you on your award and everything that you've done for us, Brooklyn and I, and I love you and congratulations.
Hey Mom, you've been so amazing to Ryan and I this year and I'm super proud of you. Congratulations on getting your award. I love you.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations!
Hi Amy, hi Cindy, it's Rachel. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you've done for me. I know without a doubt I had the best 2 lawyers on my team, and I am just thrilled that you're being recognized for it. You earned this 1000%, and I want to send you a huge congratulations.
Congratulations, Amy and Cindy. You guys have been crushing it lately. You've been specifically crushing Kaiser. In addition to this award, they have settled a couple of their cases against Kaiser, 2 of which have been between the $3 and $5 million range. So they must be Kaiser's worst nightmare. Thank you guys for holding them accountable, and congratulations on another well-deserved Trial Star Award.
Congratulations, Mom. I'm really proud of you. I think you've worked so hard to do all you accomplished, and I think you are a great role model for me and a bunch of people. Love you. Bye.
Congratulations, Mom. I'm very proud of you for earning this award. You worked so hard to get this award, and I think you've really earned it.
Hi, Beth. Congratulations on being honored as a 2020 Trial Star Award winner. Mom and Dad are really proud of all your wonderful accomplishments.
Congratulations, mijo. I'm so proud of you. You won this award hands down, mijo. Absolutely hands down. The knowledge you have of the law and in the manner in which you perform at court is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That makes you the outstanding trial lawyer that you are, mijo. Congratulations. I love you. Keep it up, baby. May God continue to bless you.
Justin, congratulations on being selected as an outstanding trial lawyer. For the recent trial you had in San Diego and representing your client, which we had the privilege of being in court with you to see you perform, and you did a bang-up job, my son. You've come a long way. So you have. So I just want to let you know how proud I am of you. And I look forward to you having much more success in the future down the road. Great job, my son. I love you, Papa.
Congratulations, Justin, on that huge, tremendous, outstanding trial lawyer award. You're just going to make Walker Law a household name. I'm sure this is just the start of more success, more acclaim, and you always were my favorite son-in-law. Love you, son.
Justin, I'm so proud of you. You deserve all the accolades that this world can give you. And as your wife, I know how hard you worked and how much effort you put into this case and this trial. And you are amazing, and you continue to impress me. And your family is so thankful for you. I love you so much.
Did you know that if you Google search Jim Brown getting his butt kicked in the courtroom, you will generate 0 results? It just doesn't happen. Congrats, Jim. I hear you are winning the Outstanding Trial Lawyer of the Year award. You deserve it. Stay safe and all the best. your friend, Chuck Norris.
Congratulations, Dad. I'm so proud of you. I've always enjoyed watching your opening and closing statements and seeing just how much you care about your clients. And just want you to know you deserve every award in the book. So enjoy this one. All three of us are so proud of you. Love you, Dad.
Hi, Jim. Just wanted to congratulate you on your Trial Lawyers Association Award. I know it's well deserved. Your hard work and preparation for each case is second to none, and your end results speak for themselves. So again, congratulations, and I also want to let you know how proud I am of you.
Hey Dad, congratulations on the award. We're so happy for you and so proud of you. You work so hard for all your clients and everyone knows that you care, especially when you get in the courtroom. We love you and we're so proud of you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, we're also proud of you. You've come a long way and you've worked so hard to get to where you are today. And you're the most patient, hardworking, generous, and kind person I know. And we're proud of all that you've done and all that you've achieved. And we know that you're gonna go on and continue to do great things. Congratulations.
Hey Dad, I'm so proud of you. You work so hard and you just love helping people in general. You're such an amazing dad. Hey Dad, this is such an amazing accomplishment. I'm so happy for you. You work so hard.
You know, the reason why you're winning this award is because you're an amazing trial lawyer and a strong advocate on behalf of your clients. And they know that. But beyond being a great lawyer, you're a better father, husband, and friend. Congrats, Chris.
Hi, Chris. I just want to say congratulations on receiving the Outstanding Trial Lawyer Award for your fantastic verdict. I went and watched you in trial and it was fantastic, and I can say that you beat a lot of odds to win this case. It was not easy on any level, so congratulations. I'm very proud of you. I also want to wish you great luck next year and say congratulations on being the 2021 Consumer Attorneys of San Diego President. I know you'll do great.
you.